Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. This is River of Living Water Revival School. And this day I welcome you to River of Living Water Revival School and participate with me in this topic of why supernatural influence, God and families. Why supernatural influence, God and families is the theme of this channel. Welcome. So we are addressing this theme of why supernatural influence, God and families. In this modern age, there is actually a spiritual or supernatural revolution that going around within the world, in where people want to really come to terms with their origin. People are not just satisfied of being told that they came from the apes. You'll find that many people will not agree to that. But we know that the theory that people came from the apes, which is propagated by science, is being greatly challenged in this age. Although nobody has come openly to say and disqualify that theory, people of the world in their behavior and their activities and the very nature of their own lives really put this theory to the test, is really putting this theory to the test. And people are really searching deeply on to see how they can activate their supernatural capacity, their supernatural nature, their supernatural ability. We know that many peoples of the world in various societies have already created their own information systems to equip them on ways of how to maximize on their supernatural capacity, on their supernatural nature. So we may say that in this age, already a revolution is rife, a supernatural revolution is rife, where people want to acknowledge themselves as people who are of supernatural nature. And in this age, you'll hear so many teachers, priests and teachers, teaching the people and telling them that I am a supernatural being living in a physical body. This is now has become a profound phrase among the teachers, among the speakers all over the world. And what the people are coming to conclude and to accept is that they come from a higher being. They are of a higher nature. They are more superior than monkeys and apes. They belong to another category. Although people are cramped out together with animals as the animal kingdom, we realize the people of the world belong to a more superior category of humanity. Humanity may not necessarily be categorized with the animal classification, but there is the human kingdom. As much as science has identified, there is the animal kingdom. So we may say also there is the human kingdom because of the manner in which the human being is put together. So we are saying that people of the world have reached a point where they acknowledge that a person is a supernatural being living in a natural body. They have come to that level of accepting the sophistication within the being of a person, that a real person who is active is that supernatural personality who lives in a natural body. And in fact, this concept, this revolution and this concept of a person being in two parts of a natural body and a supernatural being agrees with the original formula in which God uses in creating human beings. Because people are in their own personal experience or in their own manifestation or daily livelihoods for generations, even in ancient times, the supernatural aspect of people's lives was really acknowledged. And the supernatural systems of worship, who are called religions, were enacted, drawn a long time ago, as old as people are. Because within a person is that tendency that draws a person to worship a being. And it is because of that person who comes from the being of God. And this revolution also goes to stamp that the word of God is true, that the Bible is true, that the Genesis, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 28, which says, in his image he created him, male and female he created him. Where God said in verse 26, let us create man. Let us create man in our being, in our likeness, in our image and likeness. And so God created man in his own image and in his own likeness. So these activities and the tendencies of people today goes to confirm that the word of God in Genesis is true, which tells us that the Bible is true and God is real and Jesus is real. And so even the word of God carries a lot of information on supernatural content that people may need. So we are saying that this is a supernatural revolution of awareness of people's nature. People want to understand the complexity of their nature.